Sairam, Sairam. Audio, video clear. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya मृत्योर्मा अमृतम् गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. We will hear the bhajan and then start the satsang. The bhajan for online viewers will be clear when it gets uploaded. In the olden times, when the bhajan was taught, as per the requirement of that time, the initial stage, the simple translation read like this. Chant the name of Shiva, Shambho, Mahesha, Gireesha, HARA, MAHADEVA. different names for Shiva. O Lord, you have Nandi as your vehicle. You are adorned with snake as ornament. You have beautiful eyes and you are all pervading in all the three worlds. You are the supreme Lord with river Ganges in your matted lock. You wear the crescent-shaped moon and you are the enchanter of Parvati, consort of Parvati. That was the simplest way it was expressed. Today, with the mighty Lord Shiva's blessings, we are gliding towards a never before revelation of the Shiva Tattva made none other by Shiva as we proceed. The second part may be difficult in the first hearing, but as Ramana used to tell that Amma who was cooking for him, when she told Ribhu Gita chapter 26 is difficult, what he said, you keep on reading. Like that, it requires continuous listening, meditation. One day or the other, it will dawn in our innermost core of our being. And that will be the day of salvation. Shiva, Lord Shiva is the pure, changeless, attributeless, all-pervading, transcendental consciousness. He is Nishkriya Purusha. There is no action performed by Shiva. Prakriti dances on his breast and performs the creative, preservative, and destructive processes. Shiva, when he is alone, is the Nirguna Brahman and represents the destructive power of Brahman. Destructive? Is it really destructive? We will see this aspect as we move on. With Parvati, he is a Saguna Brahman available to his bhaktas for worship. Shiva Shambho. Shiva is also a name for Uma, which means who does auspicious or Kalyana. Same goes for her consort Shiva, auspicious. And Shambho originates from the Sanskrit word Swayambhu, which means one who created himself. Shiva means that which is eternally happy and auspicious. Parama Mangala. Mandukya Upanishad describes Shiva without naming him as Shantam Shivam Advaitam. This is the Nirguna aspect, not the Saguna aspect of Shiva, what we see him. The ancient people went in deep meditation and they found such beauty in the depth of the consciousness in the self. What came out of them is Bho or Aho or Wo. And Shambho means unbelievably beautiful, unbelievably benevolent. So Shambho means so benevolent, beautiful, is that principle which is the basis of the whole creation. Mahesha, Lord of Lords. Gireesha, Lord of Kailasha. Hara Hara, Hara destroyer. What he destroys. And what is the process of destruction? He destroys all the obstacles in the spiritual sadhana of his bhakta. And about the destructive power of Shiva, it has been told to the core devotees. For those hearing for the first time, Swami Shivananda says that he is not the destroyer, he is the regenerator. When a body or mind, we see even people dying young. So when the body or the mind becomes incapable or weak enough to clear its prarabdha and to continue the life, Shiva, not the destroying power, but the ever compassionate and loving Shiva, blesses that body and takes that body unto him. The body dies and he regenerates. He compassionate Shiva. What he does, he puts that soul, of course, the body is cremated. The soul, he creates a situation where the soul chooses a particular environment, a particular parents, particular overall environment in which it is able to clear its prarabdha in a better way and proceed in a better way to its spiritual sadhana, evolvement. Better than how much it was involved in the previous birth. He is the regenerator, not the destroyer, says the sage from the Ananda Kutir. Nandi Vahana, Mahadeva, Lord of all Devas, Nandi Vahana, the sacred bull Nandi is the Vahana or the gatekeeper of the deity Lord Shiva. The sacred Nandi is seen as a representation of Shiva's devotees, Bhakta in Hinduism. Due to the reverence given to Nandi, bulls are regarded as Vahanas or sacred vehicle. This denotes that Lord Shiva is the protector of Dharma, is an embodiment of Dharma or righteousness when he rides on that bull. Naga Bhushana. During the Samudra Manthan, churning of the ocean of milk, Vasuki consumed the deadliest poison that emerged out of ocean. Due to this excessive churning process, Vasuki's body was injured all over and he was distressed. And he surrendered to the Lord's feet and said, in essence, that when I was chosen to be a part of the Samudra Manthan, where I was pulled from either side for churning, I was blown with ego that, oh, I am the chosen instrument for this process, even by the Devas and the Asuras. So due to that ego, see, my whole body is bruised. I am burnt completely. To which Shiva says, yes, you had that ego and due to that you suffered. He said, don't worry. You have already been punished for your ego. Now no more ego. You will be called once again by the gods and the demons to churn the ocean until Amrita comes out. The fragrance of Amrita will energize you and restore your yogic strengths. And as a blessing, it symbolizes that when Bhakta has transcended his ego, even the Lord will adorn the Bhakta in his neck. That means he will embrace the Bhakta and take him to his abode. Symbolizing this, the Vasuki, rendered devoid of his ego, was adorned by Shiva, Nagabhushana. Phala Lochana, third eye. You must all be aware, otherwise also you can read out. We will cut short. That through the metric and through the third eye, he burnt the Kamadeva, Manmada. The story is a long story. For one who is in sadhana, just like the third eye burnt the Kamadeva, all lust, all lower passions must be burnt, which is the significance of the burning of the Lord of Kama. Also, third eye represents Ajna Chakra. Third eye symbolizing higher intuition and spiritual insight. In Shiva meditation, focusing on the Ajna Chakra can lead to profound spiritual revelations. Tripura Vihara. If you see the destructive nature of Shiva, this may also be sung as Tripura Samhara, which describes how Lord Shiva killed the demon of Tripura, who presided over the three cities built for the Danavas with Maya. Okay, we have considered Tripura Vihara. Tripura Vihara signifies that the Lord is the one who resides, who is present in gross, subtle, causal world. The three cities or the three puras are the three states of consciousness. So, he is the eternal witness in our Tripura Vihara, in all our three states of consciousness. Tripura Vihara. Same description is given in the Tripura Sundari as well. There also it is mentioned the same thing. How there can be a difference between the two, Shiva and the Shakti, Purusha and the Prakriti. Parama Purusha, the supreme Parabrahman, existing alone before the creation sprang up somehow. The supreme Purusha with the Prakriti not yet active. He remains as the supreme Parama Purusha even when the Shakti took up the role of the creation of the universe, and even after the creation, and even when the creation folds into himself, he ever remains as the Parama Purusha. Gangadhari. According to a mythological story, the origin of Ganga is Akasha Ganga, which was located in the heavens. King Bhagiratha prayed to the Akasha Ganga to descend to the earth and bless humankind. So he implored Lord Shiva to receive her torrential flow with his strength, for none else could bear the force of her descent. Shiva accordingly received the water Ganges in his matted locks and disappeared into the jungle for meditation. The king once again prayed to Shiva to release the waters of the holy Ganga for the benefit of the earth. The story goes that the flow of the present Ganga is made up of water trickling from Shiva's matted locks. That is why Ganga is worshipped as goddess herself. Chandrakala. Of course, you will see various versions of these descriptions. He has resorted to more or less mostly the descriptions given by the sage from the Ananda Kutir, with few taken from Swami's discourses. Wearing of crescent moon on his head has a story related to Daksha's 27 daughters. We are not getting into it. Vedic school of thought says that the moon god controls the mind. All the meditational energies to the person comes from Shiva, who controls even the lunar deity. For Shiva himself meditates and stays aloof from the material world. In a bhajan we sung Samadhi Priya Gangana, Hara Shiva Shankara Bholana. Kaladhara, one who is the receptacle of divisions. Supreme Shiva is beyond mind, that which has no mind and from which the mind does not return is known as the no mind aspect of the omniscient and all pervasive Shiva. Swami, however, gives a newer dimension. He says it denotes knowledge. Wearing of the crescent moon denotes knowledge which cleanses the mind and which reigns supreme. Parvati Ramana, Parvati's consort. Lord Shiva is really formless. He has no form of his own, and yet all forms are his forms. All forms are pervaded by Lord Shiva. There is a mysterious power or indestructible Shakti in the Linga to induce concentration of the mind. The mind attains one pointedness when it looks at the Lingam. It meditates on the Lingam. That is why the rishis of the yore have prescribed Lingam for being installed in the temples of Lord Shiva. Shiva Linga speaks to you in the unmistakable language of silence. It says, I am one without a second. I am formless. He poured from Bhiwadi, where he described Shiva Linga as formless and attributeless. Just the penultimate formless form. What is the form? Nothing. Just a black stone. Energized with the power of Shiva. So, when you focus and meditate on that, all the colors of the world, all other thoughts about the world disappear, and your focus is on the formless form of Linga, which helps you to transcend that thought, that meditation on the Linga, that focus on that formless form Linga also, and you take off and you are one with the Brahman. On the Linga, sage Shivananda writes, offer the inner worship to Lord daily. I worship the jewel of myself, the Shiva residing in the lotus of my heart. I bathe him with the water of my pure mind, brought from the river of faith and devotion. I worship him with the fragrant flowers of Samadhi. All this so that I may not be born again in the world. He goes on. Here is another formula for worship. O Shiva, you are myself. My mind is Parvati. My pranas are your servants. My body is your house. My actions in this world are your worship. My sleep is Samadhi. My walk is circumambulation of you. My speech is your prayer. Thus do I offer all that I am at thy feet. What a powerful meditation. Let us hear out just few words of what Sai Shiva spoke on Shiva. It's a beautiful, beautiful revelation by Swami. Shiva is known as Shubhankara, the one who is ever Shubham. We read it, ever auspicious. He says, note this, the prefix Shri is affixed to the names of such persons to indicate that without this prefix of Shri, they are tainted by their bodies. That is why Shri is added to the names of Krishna, Rama, Venkateshwara, and so on to confer beatitude on them. With regard to Ishvara, however, this prefix Shri is not applied because Ishvara is ever in the state of beatitude. Shankara means Shankara without a Shri. Shiva is not called Shri Shiva. Ishvara is not referred to Shri Ishvara. He is the embodiment of all auspiciousness, all holiness. Hence, he doesn't need this prefix of Shri. What happens, to cut short, when the incarnations come with the body, there are so many stories associated with them. Sometimes, apparently, their actions may even be adharmic, like the Rama hiding and uh, killing Bali, or so many stories of Shri Krishna. So, with the body, when you think and the stories come together, and even with human beings, when they attain realization, the Sri is prefixed because with the body, the mind of the devotees, bhaktas, or the disciples may sometime go back and think about the inauspiciousness of their bodies or the actions of their bodies. So the Shri is a must. Ishvara is formless, attributeless, and he is completely taintless from even Kala Tita, even before the time space came into being. So he is Shri, he is Shri himself. So we don't repeat Shri Shri. Ishvara is, himself is Shri. So there is no Shri Ishvara, says our Swami on Shiva. Now to the real depth of today's poem. Some of you may find it difficult, but children may hear it out from their parents after the parents have understood and contemplated and understood. And elders like Ramana told, you keep meditating. Switch on this part and keep meditating one day. And that day, when it's really dawns, he is telling you, you will be speechless. You will not be able to speak. For days together, you will not be able to speak. You will not be able to express. You will not be able to share anything about that state. Guaranteed. Because he has gone through in the last 5 days, 6 days. We are going to go through the most, one of the, not, The most, we can't say, one of the most secret revelations. We will not get into who wrote this, like we have never thought about who wrote Ashtavakra Gita. The name of the treatise itself is Shiva Rahasya. Revelations by Lord Shiva on himself. Ribhu Gita is a part of Lord this Shiva Rahasya, but Shiva Rahasya as such has never been taken from 2011 till now. And it had to be taken today, though maybe 50 Shiva bhajans would have been taught in Samarpan bhajans. Today is the day when this had to reach you. How you take the benefit out of this is between you and Swami. He is not involved in that at all. Next half an hour, close your eyes, cut off from this creation. Because the verses are not poured in the creation. They are the revelation by Lord Shiva. So, glide along with me. Om. Adoration be to Shiva, the essence of all goodness, the kindly, the pure, the all-knowing, the all-powerful, most merciful one. Hear you now, hear you now, the secret lore revealed by the Lord unto the blessed yogis of yore, desiring to bring knowledge of spirit into the world. The sages Durvasa, Nagashanta, Kapalin, and Anandanatha addressed their thought to the Supreme Lord. Moved by their earnest devotion, the great ever-living ocean of life sent forth. Now try to experience what is coming out. Sent forth a dazzling stream of light, like a redeeming river of compassion, whereby the Lord of mercy came down. And how that coming down is described? A whirling glow of silver parted the sky, and a mighty orb of light was descended from the highest height. A light so bright no mortal man had ever seen before. Even those that saw it from afar were bedazzled and perplexed. Go back to the creation session. Go back to that video which was played. In that starting, imagine there is nothing else other than shining beyond imagination, ever shining, golden illumination only. He will not say all over because creation is not there. Only that. Only that. And keep that. Keep that and let it be in your thought as we move on. In the midst of that great brightness of the Lord of life, outshined all other lights, his sky blue complexion was delightful and fair, and his eyes shined like stars. The third eye, even brighter, illumined all. He was seated upon a royal lotus seat with petals of blue sapphire and a middle part of gold. The sky offered, he has come down. The sky offered him shelter like an azure canopy of silk, whilst the sun enveloped his head with a halo of golden rays. On seeing the supreme deity, the three-eyed, moon-crowned Lord of the universe, the four quarters stood still and then they trembled with joy. Creation trembled in the presence of this creator. Unheard of heavenly sounds poured out of the sky and filled the three worlds. All things in the sight became translucent like crystal and precious gems. The whole world came alive with an inner glow of light. Cutting it short. Hail to you, the sages say, hail to you, O greatest Shiva, Lord of all beings, O Master who are worshipped by means of knowledge of self. You are the soul of the universe. You create all things by assuming thousands of forms. You are the one by whose power alone everything moves. O infinite one, may you be glorified, you who are the cause of the creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the world. Then we will cut short. Shiva asks them what they need. And the sages, Durvasa, leading the four of them, bows down and says, this is the question with which any Upanishad starts. And from what is going to follow, this leaves all the Upanishads behind. Believe me. We desire to know where do all things come from? How did the world come into existence? What is the true home for all souls? What causes a soul to be born and reborn into this world? What is the cause of suffering and pain? How is deliverance from sorrow attained? What is the best path in life for men to follow? What are the various planes of existence? Who is the all-witnessing self? What is the highest reality? How is higher knowledge attained? What are the means for gaining lasting peace and happiness? Kindly dispel our doubts by means of the dazzling beams of your eternal glory. Shiva addressed us to them in a pleasing manner. From now, the real pour starts. Shiva is pouring. Listen well. In the beginning, I, the great life, Mahasatta, alone existed. The one ever living, nameless, unfathomed ocean of being who eternally is before all other things. Surveying my infinite self, I eternally rejoiced my sheer brightness. Go back to that brightness. My brightness and my mind. Shiva opens his eyes. Imagine Shiva, not the Shiva body. Somehow, the Shiva, not yet crystallized in the form, when it ever came out of the Samadhi, and then when the Shiva, Nirguna Shiva, ever imagine, looked around with without the physical eyes, it became aware, then what could be there perhaps, except for that brightest of the brightest golden rays. Except that, how there could be anything at all? The imagining, real, sincere imagining should itself give you goosebumps. Then he said that I willed to create, we will leave alone because that will ever be mysterious only as to how he willed. But we will take the last line of this verse. My radiance spread forth into the world and filled the skies like gemstones and gold. Thus, my divine brightness and might were manifested in a multitude of ways. Now, like you saw in that video, mysteriously somehow from that light, macrocosm and microcosm, the nature and the birds, animals, human beings, one by one, they come. Essentially, the form given to each aspect of nature and each species by Lord Shiva, the form, just like it has come, it will go. The earth itself will go, the sky will go, the sun will go, the moon will go. But what is the essential essence? It is that brightest golden color. and how that manifests in the human being, we will come to that. Not a single part you can afford to miss in these revelations now. As light is one in a daytime in the form of a sun, and again many as shining as the moon and stars at night, so my divine radiance, though being one in the abode of light, appears as many in the realm of night. The day referred here is the supreme light, self-illumined consciousness. And the darkness referred here is the Maya, avidya, ignorance. But there is one thing in this also to be understood. He will cover it. Shiva, the supreme light, appears as many, like sunlight appearing as stars. The starlight or the moonlight is not different. It is the same sunlight appearing as many. But when this one appeared as many for the first time, human being having been created as many could still have existed only as that eternal light within, disregarding his physical appearance and not filling himself with ignorance which comes from somewhere. It is beginningless, endless avidya. Just because he created the moon and the stars and this creation and multitude of beings, it does not mean that the multitude of beings should be starting their process, starting their evolution with darkness, ignorance. Not necessary. They could have just remained as that light which will be within. But when that light is replaced by ignorance, the real darkness is not the darkness of the appearing in the night. The night of darkness, that is the night within, darkness within, where man forgets that he is ever that light, and he fills himself with the darkness of ignorance. Next verse. In my abode of light, wherein there is no darkness, the one is ever awake. And being awake, he sees. But in the realm of night, where all is dark, the many are asleep. And being asleep, they see the one. They don't see the one, but they see the many. Thus, while I ever abide in light, the others abide in dark. Even Upanishads cannot explain with this clarity. When there is darkness, when there is no darkness, inner darkness, everything is the same unlimited golden color, which when it comes to human being, that same unlimited, glorious, unimaginable light that manifests without gross manifestation, that is translated. There is actually no word for that. That becomes or manifests or that is realized as pure awareness. He says, I am awake, and in the wakeful state, it is day. That means all the human beings, if they are ever awake, ever realized, then irrespective of the Amavasya, irrespective of total darkness, irrespective of whether they even get stuck in a dark city, dark cave, yet they are awake, the pure awareness shines. But when they are asleep, says the Lord Shiva, when they are asleep to their real state, then the pure awareness is replaced by pure ignorance. Vivek Chudamani lines, I am awake when the world is, the sage is awake when the world sleeps, the sage is ever awake. That means that is what pure word, what is the essence of pure word today? Understand. The sage, the Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta, Avadhuta, Jnani, they exist exactly as the same light as they are created. They disregard the outer structure, they disregard the Panchakoshas. And in as much they disregard the ignorance of in the entire creation, they exist ever as that supernal light, consciousness, pure awareness, self-illumined light, self-illumined awareness. So the many stars symbolically in the meditation, it has to be understood as stars. Of course, they exist on the sky, but that multitude has to be understood as this creation. The one light becomes many, and human being could still exist with that many stars, that light, spark of light within, whereas he removes that, forgets that, can't remove that, he forgets that and replaces that with the darkness of ignorance. such a man's aura will be all dark inside, mostly. I myself, however, now, I myself, however, ever see the one even behind the veil of many. For I was the one in the beginning, I am the one now, I shall be the one in the end, in all eternity. This is how formless Shiva, Brahman, absolute consciousness. If you want to move from the lower to higher level, multiply the pure awareness consciousness within a jnani to unimaginable level. Shiva, the light. Though mysteriously from Shiva, the the nature and the human beings and birds, animals all have got created, still he recognizes all the human beings, regardless of whether they are a jnani with pure light inside awareness or they are papis with darkness of ignorance. He recognizes all of them only as that he himself, the light. Because how many times this appeared creation, the macrocosm and the microcosm, the nature and the species, how many times these forms have come and gone? And when they go, what remains? The same light. Now imagine Swami looking at all of us in this Aikulvanta. How he will be looking at us. Same light, same divine. Otherwise, if he had to open the third eye and burn us, what will happen for all our sins? Are we not with lust? Are we not with greed? Are we not with ego? Are we not sinners? Have we never committed sins? But like Shiva, Swami sees us as the same spark of light. Sai Pita, Mata, Bandhu, Sakha, Sahodara, Veda, Upanishad. Don't get deluded by that small form of Swami. Same Shiva, same light, same light. If he takes up the human qualities, he has to punish us. Creation, no human being will be left out. Therefore, know all things to have an unseen inner core, one essence and a soul that is the true nature and the life of everything. That imperishable core, being part of my eternal self, says Shiva, has been called as the self Atman. That very self is the Lord of life. Howsoever the multitude of beings have forgotten, they have apparently stupidly replaced that light core being with ignorance, still The essence is that core being, Divyatman. All are that pure self. The more sin you commit, the no more number of births you have to take. Ultimately, you have to realize that you are that Shiva, Satchitananda Shiva. Why you are delaying that? If a simple travel to a beautiful place can fill you with so much fun and excitement, a simple picnic, a simple outing, a simple this thing, excursion can fill you, or exploring Switzerland can fill you with so much joy. Imagine merging with Shiva and existing as Shiva. How it would be. The self is the true human, concealed, Atman, concealed within the body of blood, flesh, and bones. And it is by the self is by nature divine. It is the absolute, pure, peaceful, subtle, and eternal. It exists beyond the darkness of ignorance and beyond the knowledge that is expressed in words. We will jump to another Rahasya for 5 minutes. Tripura Rahasya, again being given for the first time. It is a dialogue between Parashurama and Lord Dattatreya. Same question that Parashurama is asking. After Dattatreya has ended a long discourse, and the last line summing up the discourse, which says, thus the universe is only the self, the one and one only. Even after listening to Dattatreya patiently, Parasurama was still perplexed and he asked, O Lord, what you have said so far about the universe is the truth. Even so, how is it that the creation appears to be real to me and to others who are not to undermine their intelligence? Parashurama is saying, who are very intelligent, who are very shrewd. Why does the creation continue to seem to be real to me even though I have heard you say otherwise? Please prove to me its unreality and remove my present illusion. He is asking for humankind to appear for yugas to come. Dattatreya is asking. Listen, Rama. Parasurama is addressing as Rama. This illusion is very old, being no other than the deep-rooted ignorance which makes mistakes one thing for the other. Now pay attention. See how the true self has been ignored and the body has become identified with the self. Consider this foul body comprised of blood and bones beside that unblemished pure intelligence. Even the gross body becomes mistaken for crystal clear consciousness by mere force of habit. There is a school, 6 schools of Indian philosophy, Hindu philosophy has been taught to you. The first philosophy, they believed that body is all. That is what Dattatreya is telling now. If you believe that the body is all, that means what? Body is the supreme. That means body is the greatest. That means you are saying body is the self. In spite of your shrewdness, your intelligence, you are believing your body to be real. So also the universe has repeatedly been taken to be real, so that it now looks as if it was perfect, perpetually real. The remedy lies in the change of outlook. Jiva is self, but he believes that his body is self and real. This is the night described in the Shiva Rahasya. With all the shrewdness, intelligence, man believes that his body is everything, that his body is the self. Billions and trillions of such intelligent men believing their body to be the real self, that makes the creation. Revealed by Dattatreya to Parasura. You ask me the question, the creation appears so real. How? You are saying only the self exists. The answer to you, you look within yourself. What within you, you are knowing as real. That is the answer. If you have realized that, at least with conviction at Mananam stage, that only the self is real, then the creation with all its fancies may not be so attractive to you, though the creation is there for you. But when you have realized that self within, you will always be existing as this self, whether you are alone or outside. So, physically creation is, but in essence, for the one who believes that the self is real and who has realized the self, there is no creation. As long as you believe your body is real, creation is there 100%, with all its offerings to you. Your outlook has to change. Your awareness has to change. Coming back to Shiva Rahasya, the universe is born of him, and in him alone it dissolves. He is the master of the magic power whereby he assumes various forms while remaining ever unaffected and unchanged. Same sunlight appears as moonlight, stars. Similarly, Brahman assumes various forms. He is the core self, inner self in all beings, swimming in the darkness of ignorance, ego, vasanas, yet even within each of those beings, he remains changeless, ever unaffected by what the BMI of those beings does, think, or act. The self is not subject to cycle of birth and death. He is not the physical world. He is not neither earth nor water, nor fire, nor wind, nor sky. Nirvana Shatakam, Nacha Prana Samyo, Navai Pancha Vayu, Nava Sapta Dhatur, Nava Pancha Kosha. What more can be described by Shiva, of Shiva, other than what Shiva himself has poured about his real essence? Will this Shiva Rahasya be taken up as continued session ever? That same Shiva essence has to give the intuition. Now, this is at the level of Brahman, Nirguna, Nirakara, Parabrahma, Parameshwar, light. The culminating partner. He sits in the Shiva temple with these Shiva Rahasya verses totally absorbed. That state, he cannot own that state as my state. That state, in alignment with the Shiva Rahasya verses, as he sat in the temple, that state pours, not this voice, not this body. Be sure about it. All is that light, pure awareness. I don't say I am that light. Then there comes a duality between I am and that light. There is no I am, there is no you, there is no nothing. That awareness light exists. No thoughts, no awareness other than that pure awareness. Shiva said, I am that light, illumined, glorious, absolute consciousness without when no creation had come. But existing with the human body, that imagination is not there anymore of that infinite expanded color. It is all pure awareness. Long time passes. don't even know how much time, did not even see the clock afterwards. Eyes are opened with difficulty, with efforts. When all is only pure awareness, then how can anything, any other thing be appearing other than pure awareness? Why then all are not existing as the same pure awareness? I, the supernal light, how am I appearing as multitude, like stars appearing at night? I realize for me, it is all day, awakened pure awareness. But there is also darkness in maybe others. I don't know. I don't judge. There may be darkness in others within. That is why the whole creation of all beings are not existing as pure awareness. For those in the darkness, the creation exists with all its multiplicity because with the darkness of ignorance, with that coloring, they are seeing all others. So they must be seeing some or the other coloring in all others. I am aware that I am the source, illumining each and everyone in the creation, filling them with and as pure awareness. When I exist in samadhi, I am Shiva. There is no creation. There is nothing else. There is no one to say there is no creation. When I exist with a body mind, I am the same Shiva essence. Only difference being Shiva existed as the only one without a creation, without Prakriti, Parama Purusha. Whereas I have been already given this creation when I exist as BMI. Though exist in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I exist as Shiva in silence, aloneness, but the creation is there for me when I have opened my eyes. When I am walking in the creation where I never judge, but there may be beings who might have replaced the light with the darkness of ignorance, and there may be play of the darkness of ignorance in the form of vasanas all around. I cannot close my eyes and exist in Nirvikalpa Samadhi when I am acting in the world. Then how do I exist? This was the question put up at the end of the talk of verse 72 or 73. How a yogi exists amidst the creation, where for him all are that light, supreme light only. But when suddenly, surprisingly, some with darkness of ignorance within them attack him, the vasanas attack him. Even while attacking, he is not going to judge. They are all that same light. But when the attack comes, when their ego actually attacks, or even without the thought that they may attack or they are attacking, even leave alone that. Unconditionally, when the eyes are opened and when I am acting in the world where I cannot close my eyes, I cannot be in that Nirvikalpa where absolutely guaranteed no creation at all. Then, first, that divine light, supernal light, limitless light, Shiva, exists within as pure awareness, Atman within, illumining Atman. Atma Bodha description is there. Go back and see. There are verses describing this illumining consciousness within and without. And I exist as that awareness when I am alone. But when I deal with the world, answer is coming now. And that is towards the end of this session. When I am in creation, when eyes cannot be closed, when I cannot remain actionless at BMI level, when my physical eyes see, when my ears hear, when there are beings in the multiplicity who may be good or who may not good, who may praise or who may slam, who may adore or who may humiliate. When my state of pure awareness may not be known, when the world of beings is unable to absorb what I am giving them, when own family does not know anything about the state, then how do I exist unconditionally? These are all coming out of source having existed thus, continuing to exist thus. This is not coming from a human being at all. The state of pure awareness when I am alone gets manifested as pure bliss. It is as though pure awareness has got sprinkled all over, showered all over as pure bliss. In the tsunami of that infinite pure bliss, how can I recognize ever the ignorance, vasanas, ego, negativity of anyone at all? His state as pure bliss is unknown to the world. Maybe only very, very few. To the extent how much they can grasp with their mind and intellect, sattvic intellect. Now comes the Shiva's revelation in a verse. I am aware, I myself, Shiva's words, I myself, however, ever see the one even behind the veil of the many. For I was the one, pure awareness was the one in the beginning, I am one now, and I shall be one in the end and in all eternity. Goes and sits in the Thursday in a center. Don't even try to imagine. You cannot imagine this. Just take it. That's it. All the deities sung in the Sarvadharma Bhajan, one by one, Allah, Mola, Buddha, Zoroaster, Ishwar, Shirdi Sai, Satya Sai, all without form, without attributes, without any story behind their incarnation, without their miracles, without anything, all one by one, as though one by one, sheer brightest illumination was springing forth one by one, as the name of each incarnation was coming. And the climax in the Sarvadharma Bhajan was the Chidananda Hari Om. Chit, Shiva, Ananda, when I go out, exist as pure bliss. The Satchit Shiva manifests as Ananda when a yogi faces the creation. There was no sign Thursday. There was no sign. There was no communication. Last Thursdays it happens. He can't describe that because it will be not be believable by anybody. So he keeps it to himself. After all, they are all subjective, only for himself. What all has happened between him and Swami over the last 15 years in Southern, if he starts telling, an intelligent, shrewd, logical human being will say, ये तो पागल है, ऐसे ही बक रहा है, ऐसे तोड़ना होता. So it's quite. But this Thursday, in this background of the Shiva Rahasya, existing as that pure awareness, manifesting pure bliss, he sits, and all names, all avatars come as flash of that light, sparkling light. Chidananda Hari. This moment can die fulfilled. Now, those who had really closed their eyes can open. We will end with two verses from the Ribhu Gita, a huge volume, two verses which he found as most appropriate to the essence of the Shiva Rahasya poured today. The will is there to continue with this after Ashtavakra Gita, but in the Ashtavakra Gita, each verse will have something different to say. Swami has to give the intuition because in some chapters, continuously, many verses will be saying the same thing. So verse by verse commentary difficult. How it is going to come out, only Swami has to flow through him. He's his department, so he leads to Swami. I am myself the supreme Shiva, the undivided knowledge. This uninterrupted meditation is the prescribed worship. By this and with a good mind rooted in truth, one can realize the supreme Shiva. It cannot be known in its purity by any other means. Hence, you should always meditate upon the supreme Shiva with devotion as instructed by the Guru. It is the undivided form of our Supreme Lord in a state of sublime, joyous dance that says, by the conviction that I am ever the reality, which is existence consciousness, Shiva, the light, bliss, Jnani, when he gets out into the world. And by the state of abiding at one with that being, that itself, the empty bondage of the world can be cut asunder and pure liberation can be attained. returned home that day and laughing to himself, he asked, did that pure awareness ever manifest as pure bliss? Was there any difference between the two? For him, there was no difference. This is a kavacham given, like the kavacham of the Karna for advanced sadhakas. For a jnani, actually, there is no difference. When the state is the same, how do you call it as pure awareness or pure bliss? But for those who have reached a very advanced state, this is a weapon, this is a kavacham for them. That if whenever you are not able to exist as pure awareness, Shiva essence, a little bit of subtlest vasana impression is existing about others around you, that this person is like this person is like this, he is going to behave like this, he is thinking of me like this, and this man he is going to hurt me like this, or this, any possibility of attack of the darkness of ignorance manifesting in any way, ragadvesha vasana anyway, then carry the impact of the pure awareness in your meditation and take it as a goal till the ultimate goal is realized, to exist in the joy of the impact of the meditation state, that can be defined, that can be described as pure bliss. One day, if you are able to exist that way, amidst the Janasamuha, all the efforts of all around who have caused you disturbance in various way, pleasure or pain, happiness or misery, sorrow, whatever way, or even within your own self, you are experiencing these various dualities, all those things, like the ineffective arrows of the asuras in the Ramayana, all of them will just fall off. Impotent arrows will fall off if you are able to carry the impact of meditation as pure joy. Put in the toughest ever challenge, maybe he may be able to differentiate that this was actually pure bliss, but actually there is no difference. This is the Shiva, not the Shiva whom we have described and whom we have understood. Not the Shiva associated with Parvati, not the Shiva with various stories. All of them are at the starting level to induce faith in you in Lord Shiva. But this is the Shiva essence given by Shiva in the Shiva Rahasya. It is a secret. Shiva has told in the beginning, it is a secret that I am revealing today because of your worthiness. And he has given it to you, not judging anyone's worthiness at all. He is not going to ask even one. how it was. Usually he asks, it is absolutely up to you how much you can fathom the depth of this Shiva Rahasya. With that one stanza from the Tripura Rahasya. After this course, he gets into Mahamona, supreme silence, in which he has been existing this week all. Hari Om Tat Sat. Prostrations to the core inner essence, inner being in all of you, the same Shiva in all of you. Prostrations. Sai Ram.